My name's Scott. My dog's name, Murphy, and we love scent work. Here's a practice that I'm going to break down. So we were asked in class to design a practice with a teammate to achieve a specific goal. And my teammate wanted to work on her dog's skills of getting nose to the ground. She said that her dog tends to keep its nose kind of up at nose level. That's also one of my goals as well. One of my goals lately has been doing corner hides. So the hide for this one, we ended up placing underneath this little piece of mat that's folded up here. So it's low and it's pretty close to a corner. When we came into the room, this little table was here. These stools were not, that chair was not, this was not. And then you can't see there's two chairs up against the wall. So there was only this cart and this thing and the hide. So we brought in some other objects because dogs tend to be object oriented to make it not quite so easy. One of the goals that my partner had was she didn't want this to be a super easy hide. Now, I would say that normally if you're going to practice just doing corners, perhaps keeping all this other stuff out of there, except for maybe something to pull the dog into the corner, would be a good idea. But she wanted to make it a little bit more difficult, so we did. Turns out that this thing, I don't know if this thing, we'll watch the video. I guess it did attract Murphy a couple of times. This was a challenging hide. So as we analyzed what could possibly be challenges for the dogs, first of all, underneath this little folded up piece of flooring here, there's a strong possibility the odor is going to hold right there and not really move. I think we let this cook for maybe 8 minutes. Also, we've got dog treats up here, which in the past Murphy's looked at. What are some other challenges? It's a corner, which is a challenge. It's a low hide, which is a challenge. We thought maybe we might get some pooling odor underneath this little stand, but I don't think that was necessarily the case. So let's go ahead and watch how Murphy pulled this off. You ready to go to work?
Because while we want to think about what we're doing, the start line is the best place to let them lead.
Right.
Because if you don't think that dog is sniffing when you first come in the door, you're crazy, especially with a more advanced dog.
All right. I should say that little beginning conversation started before I started recording, and that was that in another recording, I noticed at the start line a couple of times I was cutting my dog off and making him go a direction that he was not looking. So he was kind of looking at the start line in another direction, and I'd step right in front of him and kind of force him to go the other way. So I was trying to avoid doing that. So that was a conversation that was going on before this started. So let's see here. He goes kind of over there and he cuts that corner off, right? So if the odor's holding tight, he's probably not going to get it right there.
Right. Because if you don't think that dog is sniffing when you first come in the door, you're crazy, especially with a more advanced dog. They're working when you come in.
So right here, I would have thought that he would have caught some odor. So I don't know if any of you noticed, like, did he catch some odor there? Or is it truly being held so tight to the floor he didn't? Because he got pretty close to where it was, right? But he kind of moves out of it and he doesn't zigzag back in. He just kind of keeps going around again. So this is the second time he's gone around the perimeter. He hasn't checked out the chairs behind me yet at all.
He's convinced, he's like, well, I checked all the normal places, and now it's not there.
He thinks he's checked the room.
Uh-huh.
All right, so yeah, something else I noticed is he's kind of checked all the things in the room and he's checked the perimeter and he finally kind of checked these chairs. And then he goes back again. And I feel as though that he spends more time really trying to drill down on, is there something here on these objects? Like the first pass is kind of cursory and the second pass is a little bit more detailed. Does that sound reasonable? I've only been at this for a short amount of time. So if somebody else has eyes that or thoughts on that, I'd love to hear them. And then he'll go back to the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's working that
So this is just some of him learning
a little bit more intense. So he cuts that corner again.
That it isn't just about a thing.
So he's kind of only been in that. He's been in that corner twice, maybe.
Could be. I also, every single time that rolling cart's been in a search, church. The dogs are like,
Dogs love it.
yeah.
Now he's checking those chairs behind me again. You can't see. Somebody dropped a scent tin off camera, which got his attention. I'm proud of him, though. The second time he didn't pay attention to it the same way. So, I mean, up to this point, do you feel that he's gotten any odor? And if so, my question is there a certain threshold of odor that a dog needs before it's like, hey, there might be something sourceable here, as opposed to, hey, there's just kind of some odor maybe from a previous class hanging out, or, you know, something like that. So what are your thoughts there?
Not get distracted. You can do it.
Sorry, the hide over here fell. It's like, this one's hard, Dad. It is a hard one, buddy. You can do it.
Now he's going back into that corner again. And now I've also noticed that this is the first time he's actually started looking high, which is something we've started just working on recently. So I don't know, we're a minute 42 and finally he's kind of looking high. I don't know. Do you feel that he's caught odor here from that hide, or is he just still searching?
We'll just not put it back.
They dropped it a second time, but this time he just ignored it, which was awesome.
She's mad.
So, you know, he's looking at me now because I think he's like feeling like, hey, there's nothing going on here. Again, he's going high, I think. No, he's looking at me because it's like, so I moved in here, and maybe this is a bad handler move, but I feel like we've been doing it enough that I was going to move in and kind of tighten this area a little bit to see if he would force himself into that corner.
You got it.
I don't know if he was sorry so much as he was like, damn.
It's like, can I just entertain you? Right. Look at the effort.
It does make me wonder if it's holding a little tighter.
All right, I feel like this is the first time, by the way, that he's gone around the room this way, in a clockwise way. Up until this point, I feel like it's been very counterclockwise. I think this is the first time he's gone around it clockwise, which is something else I'm working on, remembering you need to check a room perimeter both directions.
He definitely picked up some odor over there, but not enough that he really started searching the climb area. And again, both dogs were like, are you sure there's nothing on the blinds? Because stuff's been on the blinds before.
Now, fortunately, I'm blocking it, but now we're going to get close. I don't think, did he get something there? I don't know. Because then he kind of went boop, 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 and that's when he really then finally came down and indicated.
He's like, I got it!
Good boy.
All right, so did he catch something here? What happened here?
Stuff's been on the blinds before.
Nose goes up. Boom. You know, oh, there was more or less. And then he kind of just goes back there. And I think this was the first time also that he came in from this angle. So maybe that was the difference. But as soon as he got in there, he knew.
He's like, I got it!
Good boy.
He almost acted like I knew it was here all along.
You got it. Good
You're
boy.
satisfying.
You got it. You got it. Good boy.
All right. We have a very supportive class. I love it. All right. So hopefully I talked about a lot that I was observing because I think the me of 6 months ago would have liked to have known some of those things. But I still have a lot of unanswered questions. So if you can contribute in any way, shape, or form to any sort of insight, something you noticed, maybe put the time you noticed it and what it was you noticed so I can learn how to read my dog better, I'd really appreciate it. But I was super proud with how he stuck with it. And he looked at me a couple of times, but he went right back to work. So, I mean, he really had some good endurance, I felt, for not getting the hide as quickly as he had liked. Because a lot of times he gets hides very fast. And I've noticed when I've moved up into more advanced levels that if he doesn't get them really fast, he's kind of like, well, what's going on here? And he'll start checking in with me and be more dependent on me. So anyway. Thanks for checking out my training video. Would love to hear your thoughts.